In the dark and foggy streets of Victorian London, a chilling enigma unfolded in the year 1888, one that would both captivate and terrify the city. This enigma was Jack the Ripper, an elusive and brutal serial killer whose true identity remains shrouded in mystery even more than a century later. The story of Jack the Ripper is not just a tale of gruesome murders but also a complex narrative that reveals the social disparities, investigative challenges, and human fascination with unsolved mysteries. To understand the full scope of the Jack the Ripper mystery, one must first delve into the backdrop of late 19th century London. The city was a sprawling metropolis, the heart of the British Empire, boasting wealth, culture, and innovation. However, it also harbored stark inequalities. Nowhere was this disparity more evident than in the East End, where a squalid underworld of poverty, crime, and destitution festered. The East End was a place where many struggled to survive. It was a place where the impoverished and vulnerable turned to prostitution, often out of sheer desperation. The five canonical victims of Jack the Ripper, Mary and Nichols, Annie Chapman, Elizabeth Stride, Catherine Eddowes, and Mary Jane Kelly, all shared this grim fate, making them easy prey for the unknown killer. The reign of terror began with the murder of Mary and Nichols on August 31, 1888. Her lifeless body was found in Bucks Row, a dimly lit alley in Whitechapel. Her throat had been slashed, and her abdomen brutally mutilated. The brutality of the attack was shocking, sending shockwaves through the impoverished neighborhood. Newspapers quickly picked up the story, and the legend of Jack the Ripper was born. Annie Chapman, the second victim, met a similarly gruesome end a week later. Her throat was slashed, and her abdomen opened up, with organs removed. The level of precision and knowledge of anatomy displayed in the murders led many to speculate that the killer had medical or surgical expertise. As the murders continued, panic and fear spread through the East End. Elizabeth Stride and Catherine Eddowes fell victim on the same night, September 30, 1888. Stride's murder appeared rushed, suggesting that the Ripper might have been interrupted, while Eddowes suffered a horrific fate, with her face mutilated and her uterus removed. The final victim, Mary Jane Kelly, met her demise on November 9, 1888. Her murder marked the end of the Ripper's killing spree, but it was the most gruesome of all. Kelly's body was found in her squalid room, her face unrecognizable due to the savage mutilations. Her internal organs were grotesquely displayed, and the room resembled a slaughterhouse. The similarities in these murders were impossible to ignore. All the victims were prostitutes, and their throats had been slit with a precision that suggested a knowledge of human anatomy. The removal of organs and the grotesque mutilations indicated a level of expertise that added an extra layer of horror to the killings. The police, led by Chief Inspector Frederick Aberline, faced an almost insurmountable challenge. The East End was a labyrinth of narrow streets and alleys, and the killer seemed to have an uncanny ability to strike without leaving a trace. The investigators were under immense pressure from the public and the media to apprehend the perpetrator, but the leads were scarce, and the killer remained elusive. As the panic escalated, the newspapers played a pivotal role in sensationalizing the murders. Letters purportedly from Jack the Ripper began arriving at news offices. The authenticity of these letters remains a matter of debate among historians, but they added to the aura of terror surrounding the case. The infamous "From Hell" letter, which arrived in October 1888 along with a small box containing a human kidney, remains one of the most chilling pieces of evidence. The letters were filled with gruesome details and cryptic messages, and some contained hints at the killer's identity. However, whether they were genuine communications from the murderer or the work of attention-seeking hoaxes remains a mystery. The police conducted numerous investigations and interviewed countless witnesses, but their efforts yielded little progress. Suspicion fell on various individuals, including a number of suspects whose names still linger in the annals of Ripper lore. Some believed the killer was a butcher or a surgeon due to the precision of the mutilations, while others speculated that he was a member of the upper class who could move through the East End without drawing suspicion. One of the most enduring theories centers on a man named Aaron Kosminski, a Polish immigrant who lived in Whitechapel at the time of the murders. Kosminski had a history of mental health issues and a deep-seated hatred of women. He was eventually committed to an asylum, where he would spend the rest of his life. In 2019, DNA evidence found on a shawl believed to have belonged to Catherine Eddowes was said to match Kosminski's DNA, reigniting interest in him as a possible suspect. However, the evidence is still debated among experts, and the case remains officially unsolved. In the years following the Ripper murders, London underwent significant changes. The East End, once a grim and impoverished area, gradually improved as the city modernized and social reforms were implemented. The slums and dark alleys of Whitechapel were replaced with new buildings and infrastructure, and the era of the Ripper began to fade into history. The mystery of Jack the Ripper remains an enduring enigma that has captured the world's imagination for over a century. The gruesome and meticulously executed murders, the taunting letters, and the numerous theories and suspects have all contributed to the legend of this infamous killer. While the identity of Jack the Ripper may never be definitively known, the story of his reign of terror continues to haunt us, serving as a reminder of the dark and terrifying aspects of human nature that can emerge even in the heart of a bustling and civilized city. Alright, if you enjoyed this content, please make sure to hit the like button and please subscribe to the channel. Your support would truly make my day. If you are still taking a dump, here are more videos for you. Thank you for your time.